Before the video starts, I would just like to say that roughly 71% of the people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to the channel. So if you enjoy the content, why not drop a sub? It'd really help me out and I'd appreciate it. Anyways, enjoy. Hey guys, it's Phantom here and welcome back to a brand new video, everyone, where in today's video I am going to be talking about one of the best things that had ever happened to me on Wiz. Just a time where my excitement was pretty much unparalleled by anything that I had ever done in the game up until that point. And boy, did I feel fulfilled inside. What am I talking about exactly? Well, if you don't know, which you probably shouldn't because I don't think I've ever told this story on this channel before. Essentially, I had a very successful Hades run as a child. And for a bit of context, though, before I get into the details of the actual story, I, along with my IRL pals, back when they actually played this game, of course, used to do a lot of Hades runs. The year was 2012 or 2013. I honestly really don't remember, but I do know it was around the time that the Aquila dungeons first dropped, and there was a lot of hype surrounding them, especially Tartarus. So yeah, now that I actually think about it, it was probably closer to 2012 because I think that was the year when the dungeons first dropped, but anyways, if you guys played Wiz during that time, you'll probably remember that people used to farm the absolute shit out of these dungeons, most notably Tartarus, of course, because the gear was pretty much unlike anything we had seen before up until that point. The defensive Hades sets were thought by many to surpass even Waterworks gear, pretty much the best gear at that time, not counting crafted gear. But I guess I do suppose people's opinions on the Hades gear were influenced greatly just by what school they were, just because of how different, gear stats used to be depending on what school you were. But anywho, to make a long story short though, I took one look at the Unseen Lord Cinder set, the Hades defensive fire set by the way, and I decided that I absolutely had to have it. I really loved how the gear offered a lot more critical and power pip at the cost of, a little bit of damage and accuracy, especially accuracy, stats that are really, really important nowadays, but hey, times were a little bit different back then, just because of how OP critical used to be, and many people's opinions, including mine, were different as well, just in regards to how you should build up your character and what stats to go for. Oh, and I really liked the resistance and pierce as well, of course, that the set brought. Getting back to the story though, after me and my friends were informed of how amazing this gear was, we of course decided we needed it. And I mean, really needed it. We were sick and tired of running our Waterworks gear every single battle, and you know what, it was time for a change. So we opted to pretty much non-stop farm the Hades dungeon until we got all of it. And for some reason, me and my friends actually ended up getting the exact hat and boots that we wanted pretty quickly. Perhaps hats and boots were just the most common drops that you could get out of the entire gear set, but I digress because I don't really know for sure. Point is, we got these items after only a few Hades runs, which is actually pretty lucky considering there were, of course, 4 of us running the dungeon, and the actual drop rates of the gear, I really don't think were super high, especially back then, although I'll be honest, I don't have any data to back that up, but I do think they were lower. And what I know for sure though is there was no second chance chest that you could open. Nope, you didn't have the option to just pay a measly 50 or 100 crowns to automatically get a second chance at the gear. If you didn't get the gear, you had to go all the way back to the beginning of the dungeon. And let me tell you, Tartarus, especially back then, took a very, very long time to complete. I think me and my friends' average time was around 2 hours because we just simply weren't very good at the game and didn't know how to play very well despite making it to level 90. And, you know, sometimes it could take us upwards of 3 hours as well if we had a really bad run. So it's safe to say that every time we were unsuccessful at getting the gear, we got pretty frustrated and angry just because of how much time the dungeon took up. Not to mention, it made it even worse when someone had to leave halfway through the dungeon after all of our hard work getting to the point that we were at. And yeah, overall, it was not a very fun time. As I was saying before though, we all got our hat and boots fairly quickly. However, one piece of gear that ended up eluding us for the longest time was the Hades robe. I really don't know why the robe specifically took me so long to get. I guess it might be because the robe could have had the lowest drop rate out of any of the gear, but the point is, it was a huge struggle to get. And me and my friends back in the day just did so many Hades runs in order to get this robe that it came to a point where we were just simply baffled every time we didn't get it because we had already run the dungeons, or we had already ran the dungeon upwards of like 30 or 40 times. I mean, we seriously got so sick of this fucking dungeon that we would play music over Skype while we ran the dungeon just to make it slightly less painful, because Discord like wasn't really a thing, or just wasn't much of a thing back then. And I don't know, we used Skype, and I think a lot of people also did as well, just all those years ago. But yeah, we we played music to make it slightly less painful, to almost no avail. But there did come a time though. There did come a time where I got pretty lucky during a Hades run, and the pain had finally ended. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to mention before that we would sometimes farm Cronus as well in an attempt to get the blade of the felled Titan, but none of us got it for a really long time. That is, until this faithful Hades run. So basically, what happened was we did our usual Cronus run at the beginning of the dungeon just because, you know, it was right by the entrance, and I actually ended up getting the Athame. And let me just tell you guys, back then, that was a feat to accomplish. Like I said before, I don't know if the drop rates were actually lower back then, but they certainly felt lower. And I just have to say, I was extremely happy to get this Athame. I don't think any Athame during that time gave quite as much damage as the Blade of the Felled Titan, or really had comparable stats, like, at all. I mean, the Athame was just honestly a universally really good piece of gear to have. And my friends ended up getting really pissed at me out of pure jealousy, which I thought was amazing. And for pretty much the rest of that dungeon, I was in pure bliss, just pure euphoria. That is, until the very end, when things just got even better for me. So at the end of the Hades fight, what ended up happening was I saw a robe icon pop up on the left-hand side of the screen, and I got really excited, but also really nervous. As, if you guys don't know, you can also get the Zeus and Poseidon level 90 plus gear from the fight as well, and also the offensive Hades robe, which just was not very good at all as it gave no resist. And, you know, fire wizards were even squishier at the time back then, so that was definitely a no-go for me. But lo and behold, I hovered my cursor over the icon, and I saw it was the Unseen Lord Cinder's Plate, or Unseen Lord Cinder's Plate. I don't remember the name exactly. It was something like that, though. And I just fucking flipped out. Like, that might have been the biggest dopamine hit I had ever gotten in my life, and I think that still holds true today. Like, I was fucking hyped over this, guys. This was the one piece of gear that I had wanted for so long, and through so much pain and suffering, I was finally able to obtain it. My friends, of course, were not very happy with me once again, and it was even more hilarious because they just wanted the robe. They wanted the robe just as much as me, and yeah, I got a lot of shit from them just because I was luckier. Hilarious stuff, honestly. What's really funny is they gave up on trying to get the robe soon after that happened. I guess they were just kind of done after I had that marvelous stroke of luck during that one dungeon run too. Like, getting 2 insane pieces of gear out of just one dungeon run, it's totally possible, but still pretty unlikely. And as a kid, I was just super pumped about the whole thing, as it meant that my time farming stupid motherfucking Aquila was finally coming to a close, and I was simply just a happier man because of it. But anyways, guys, that's the story. I really hope you guys did enjoy, and if you did, you know, you could always leave a like on the video, as it would help me out immensely, and it'd put a smile on my face. So why not, right? But that's gonna be all from me, everybody. Once again, I really hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and peace out, everyone.